Hi y'all, bonjour, hola, my name is Trish. If you're new, welcome. In this Photoshop tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create this birthday flyer design. Without much ado, let's get started. If you're looking for more birthday flyers, check out these two birthday flyers that I did. I will have a link to those in the description below. So for this birthday flyer design in Photoshop, I'm using a 10 by 10 inches and a resolution of 300. I'm going to select these two images and I'm just going to drag them in, double click to accept. Now I'm going to turn off the back image since that will be our main subject image. And I'm just going to use my lasso tool and I'm just quickly going to cut out the portion of my subject that I need. And I'm going to right click and I'm going to create a copy. Now I can delete the bottom image since I don't need it. So to delete, select the file, click on delete on your keyboard and it does it. Now we want to go ahead and take off the background of our subject. So I'm going to click on my subject layer and I'm going to go ahead and use the quick selection tool under property to take it off. If you don't have that, go under quick selection tool and then click on select subject. So you want to click at the top, select subject. It looks like it's a fairly good selection and we can go ahead and add a layer mask. And that takes off the background for us. I'm going to use my move tool, and if your transform is not activated, Control T if you are on Windows, Command T if you are on the Mac. And we're going to go ahead and quickly scale our subject. With our subject set, we're going to take the opacity of our subject down. So I'm going to go to my opacity under my layers and we're just going to slide that down to maybe about a 43. So guys, in the description below, you will find a link to all the images I'm using in this tutorial so you can practice and follow along. I'm going to add a gradient background as we develop this birthday flyer design. I'm going to click on my adjustment and click on my gradient. So we're going to keep our gradient fill color and the style. I'm going to change the style, go ahead and move my angle so I have my gradient on the side, on the diagonal, and I'm going to go ahead and click OK. So I'm going to click on my subject layer, go to your adjustment and add a black and white adjustment. And I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to leave it as is. Now we want to go back to our adjustment, add a color balance. Now with the color balance, I want to add a bit more of a richness, so I'm just playing with my magenta and that's where I'm going to leave it. Now the last thing that we're going to do to finish off the background as we create our birthday flyer is to add some texture. So I'm going to go back to my folder. I'm going to go ahead and drag in these two images. I'm going to double click to accept. We're going to turn off the top one and I'm going to move this and set that in place and I'm going to scale it like that. So what we're going to do to reveal our background image is to reduce the opacity of the image so it's not too much. And I'm going to also turn on the other image and we're basically going to do the same thing. We're going to scale it and we're going to take the opacity of this down as well. You can also use your fill to give you the desired look that you want. With your background set for your birthday flyer design, we want to click on our metallic background. I am going to add a layer mask. Now, what I want to do is take away from the background so that I can reveal a bit more areas of our subject. So I'm going to pick up my brush tool with my foreground as black. You want to make sure that you pick a soft brush. Now we can go ahead and erase some portions of our background, and this is a non-destructive way. So in case I decide not to erase any portion of my background, I can basically right click and disable my layer mask. So use your right and left bracket to basically increase or decrease your brush head. I'm going to go ahead and erase some areas just randomly. It doesn't have to be perfect. So with this done, we want to go ahead and turn on our main subject, and I'm going to pull him all the way up to the top, and I'm going to click on my move tool, set him in place, and maybe scale him a little bit more. I'm going to go to properties, and I want to take it off using the quick action, but I need to convert the image into layers before I can do that. So click on convert layers and click on yes. Now your image has been converted. Go back under your property, click on remove background, and Photoshop just takes off the background. And as you can see, Photoshop does a very good job. Now I'm going to set this in place where I want it. If you want to scale it a little bit more, you can do that. So guys, check this out. Once you cut out your subject, if you don't need your background anymore, you can right click on your image and basically apply your layer mask. So it takes off the layer mask, it takes off your background. Now you just have your image without the background. So with this set, we want to go ahead and add a bit of a camera raw effect to enhance our photo. So click on the layer, go to filter and choose camera raw filter. Now we can go ahead and enhance our photo. You can increase the temperature, you can increase your vibrance a little, and then increase my saturation, and I'm gonna go ahead and click OK. So you notice that you basically just enhanced your photo. It looks great. We're gonna double click to accept. Now we want to add a gradient effect so that we can gradually fade out our subject from the bottom. So to do that, you want to go ahead and add a layer mask. You want to pick up your gradient tool. Now we need to go up to our gradient option, and we need to choose the gradient from foreground to transparent gradient. And we want to make sure our foreground color is black. So if you don't have the black and white default, just click on the little icon and it will set your colors to the default background. You can draw a straight line down and you can see that it gradually gives you this faded effect. We are going to go ahead and apply the same gradient effect on our background image. So I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to right click and apply the layer mask, and I'm going to add a new layer mask. I'm going to do the same thing on my subject, so I get also a gradual effect on my subject. So with our background all set for our birthday flyer design in Photoshop, we're going to go ahead and begin to add the different elements to finish off this birthday flyer. Pick up my type tool. So I'm using Avena next, and I'm just going to type in happy. And obviously it's not showing because it's below my background. So I'm just going to pull that up to the top. Now we can see it. I'm going to set it somewhere here, and I'm just going to go ahead and scale it just a little like that. Double click to accept. Now you want to go back and pick up your type tool, and we want to type in birthday. Since we're doing a birthday flyer design, I'm going to go ahead and click and type in birthday. And I'm going to highlight. We're going to go ahead and change our font to the Bacalistel, and I'm going to go ahead and highlight everything apart from the B, and I'm going to turn off the cap lock. So we have everything else in lowercase. I'm going to go ahead and scale it big, and I'm going to set it right there. I'm going to double click and change the color. We are going to choose something in the goldish color. It's a fun celebration. Yeah. So I'm going to choose this, and it's looking good. So I'm going to highlight just the B, and we want to take up the scale for the B a little to give it that, boost. And I'm just going to set it right there. We want to click on our birthday text, double click in the layers panel. Now the layers style dialog comes up. We want to add a drop shadow, and we are going to click on the drop shadow, and then we're going to play with the settings. So we have the background, we have the drop down shadow, but it's not too much. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click OK. Click on your happy. we want to make a duplicate. So Command J, make a duplicate. Since we have our birthday in place, you want to go ahead and click on the padlock to lock your birthday layer. So when you're moving other things, it doesn't move the birthday. Now I'm going to double click on this and type in celebration. Pick up your move tool and we're just going to go ahead and scale this down. We're going to set it right there. You can make it a little bit bigger if you want or smaller. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to keep it down a little and I'm going to go under my property. Now under the VA is where you can increase your spacing. So I'm going to do something like this. We're going to click on the same text, Command J, make a copy, take that up to the top, and we're going to type in Reverend Jerry. I'm going to use my move tool. We're going to scale this down just a little, set it right there, double click to accept. Now go back to your property and we are going to go back under the VA and we want to space this out like that. You don't want to use your space bar to space each individual text, okay? Don't do that. That's not good. So you have a much easier way to do that. So with this all set, we want to go ahead and add the rest of the information that we need on this flyer. So I'm going to go ahead, pick up my type tool, and I'm just going to pick another font, which is the Agagi Pro. And I'm going to go ahead and reduce the spacing, and we're going to go ahead and type in when this event is going to take place. And I'm going to highlight, and we're going to go ahead and flip our foreground color to pick up on the yellow. So we have the same color. If you're enjoying this tutorial, give this video a thumbs up. And now I'm going to pick up on my celebration. I'm going to make a copy, Command J, make a copy, move that up, and we are going to add in the address. And I'm just going to pick up my move tool. We're going to scale this a little and we want to set it on the bottom just like that. And you want to make sure that everything lines up. So make sure you turn off your snaps. If you don't see your snaps, go under Windows, go under View, and you can turn on your snaps so you can keep everything aligned. Like this text, you know, you want to move it till you get the middle snap turned on. Now we want to go back to our background and I'm going to click on that. And I'm just going to move my gradient so that now we have it on the bottom. Just hey and okay. Now we want to go back to our color balance and I want to increase my blues in this so it picks up on a very nice color. So this is all preference. You can play with it till you get the desired effect that you want. So I have my gradient fill more on the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. So with this set, everything is looking good. Now I want to go ahead and type in the 40 because it's a 40 celebration. So pick up your type tool and you can go ahead and type in your 4. And I'm going to change my font color and I'm using a Bodini 72. So with my text in place, I'm going to move this text all the way up to the top so we can see it well. So with this in place, I'm going to make a copy, Command J, make a copy, move that down, double click and just type in a 0. And I want to change the color to the yellow like that. Select both layers, put it into a group, click on your top image, make sure that you take the opacity of that all the way up to the top. Now we want to clip that image only to the group. So hold down options, clip it, and you notice that it only applied to your font. Now we want to go ahead and take the opacity down. So what I'm going to do now is I can go ahead and move my image within my font, and I can even go ahead and also scale it down. I can click back on my image and I can even rotate that so we get a diagonal texture effect on our 40. So I'm going to pick up my type tool and I'm going to add in TH and I'm going to highlight, make that white, and I'm just going to go ahead and choose a basic Bebop font. I'm going to move the font and set that right there. So I want to go ahead and add a drop shadow effect. I'm going to double click on my group. It will bring up the layer style. Now I can go ahead and add a drop shadow to my text. Click on the drop shadow. Now I can go ahead and with the shadow effect, I can move it if I want, and I can increase the spread a little if I want to do so. And I am going to go ahead and click OK. So we have this cool effect on our 40. So I want to add a drop shadow effect to my 40. So I'm going to click on my group layer, my texture image. I'm going to press Command J, make a copy, and I'm going to right click and convert this into a smart object. Now I'm going to move that below my my text, and I'm going to go to image and transform and click on vertical flip. I'm going to click on that with my down arrow. I'm going to move that out. I'm just going to move that out and set it on my 40, just like that. And I'm going to take the opacity all the way down so it's not too much. It just gives me a nice little reflection. Now we want to take this layer and pull it all the way down below our subject layer so it's behind our subject and not in front. We want to go ahead and add in some shapes. So pick up your shape tool and pick up your rectangle. Now we'll just go ahead and draw just a little line like that. And you want to go under your property, click on your fill color, fill that in. Now you can click on your move tool and you can go ahead and just rotate your shape and set that over next to the 40. Now we want it to be parallel to the 40. So you just put it around it and gauge it. Now we want to take the opacity down. So I'm just going to go ahead and reduce the opacity. Now click on that layer, pull it all the way down so it's behind your subject layer and not on top of your subject. So we have something like this. So we'll go ahead and create a few of the shapes. I'm just going to create something very fast, and we are going to click on our fill, choose a white with our move tool. We're going to go ahead and move that, and then I'm just going to go ahead, rotate, double click, accept that, move that, and we're going to set that somewhere here. And this is basically what we have, just a little bit of an element. You don't have to add it, but you can choose to. Now we want to go ahead and set everything in place so we can see it. And to fit your screen, click on the magnifying glass and click on fit to screen. So with this all set, we want to go ahead and add a lens flare effect. So go to the very top of your layers, click on the top layer, go ahead and add an adjustment layer, a solid color. Now we want to go ahead and pick a black, click OK, go to your filter and choose render, and then choose lens flare. You want to click convert to smart object. So with our layer converted to a smart object, Photoshop brings up the lens flare dialog box. Now we want to use this one, so I'm just going to play with the lighting to get it in the place that I want. You have the option to choose whichever one you want, but I'm just going to stick with this, and I want it to just be in the center like that. And I'm going to go ahead and click OK. So with our lens flare created, we need to change the blend mode to screen. Screen basically hides anything that is black. So I'm going to go ahead and set this somewhere here. Now to complete this flyer, we want to add a camera raw effect. So click on your top image, hold down Shift Option Command E to make one file. Now go under your filter, choose camera raw filter. Now with this dialog box, you want to see how you can play with the vibrance or the saturation to bump up your colors. Now we can increase our exposure a little if we want. I'm going to go ahead to click OK. So now you can see this is the before, now this is the after. So guys, this is how you create a simple but very nice birthday flyer design in Photoshop. If you're looking for more birthday flyers, check out these 2 birthday flyers that I did. I will have a link to those in the description below. Bye y'all.